How's the weather looking for day 3 at the 2022 Gillies Shield, the Open Women's National Championships, coming from softball, South Australia in West Beach, SA, on beautiful Ghana land. Good morning, everybody. Good evening. Good wherever you are watching around the world. Thank you so much for joining us. We're on the final day of the minor rounds, we'll call it. Eric Ballnar, Anthony Weatherston, Lee Hull, calling all the action for you today. Boys, what do we have in store on day 3? Because we've started to finally have some shape to the standings.
Yeah, so obviously the results yesterday panned out with New South Wales and SA sort of solidifying their position at the top of the ladder, but the teams underneath, Victoria, Queensland, both have triple headers today, so it's going to be super important for them to, 2 wins pretty much gets you through by the look of it, so it's going to be a tough day. It's going to be an exciting day in that regard because we're going to find out who's playing tomorrow. Yeah, and this, we're blessed, aren't we? It's an absolutely perfect Adelaide morning this morning. Sun's out, hardly any wind. You've got to be able to play terrific softball in these conditions, Eric, don't you?
Well, there's 2 different races going on right now and how teams are managing their programs on day 3. Like you said, Weathers, New South Wales sitting at 5-1, 2 games to play today. SA sitting at 4-1. They've got 3 games to play today. 1 win for SA or 1 Victoria loss guarantees them a spot in that 1 versus 2 game where you're at least playing in a prelim final. It's going to be really, really hard for SA to not be in that game. Things have to go catastrophically wrong. I'm talking about losing every game like 13-0.
Yep.
Possible, unlikely.
Yep.
So New South Wales and SA, they're managing for potentially a prelim final tomorrow. Then you have a dogfight right now between Victoria, ACT, and Queensland. Victoria have 2 wins. ACT and Queensland have 1 win. They've all kind of taken wins off of each other. Runs against is a big tiebreaker. For the bottom 3 teams, what does their day look like today in terms of getting into a final spot?
Well, they just, I know it's an old cliche, guys, but it's 1 game at a time, isn't it, today? A few of the sides are playing triple headers, back to back to back.
The teams 3, 4, and 5
that's right,
all
3, 4,
are.
and 5. So they've got opportunities to get into the finals. And there's going to be 4 out of 5 teams make it.
Yeah,
so we wish them all the best.
Yeah.
Queensland are leading things off. Dorinda Stone, Harari Kurihara, and Tamika Whitefield. They've mixed up their lineup a little bit on Queensland day 3. They are currently sitting in a final spot based on run differential, even though or runs allowed, even though they did lose to ACT, the team that they are tied with at 1-4. Queensland need a couple of wins likely today, 1, maybe 2 for sure, to get into the finals. 3 teams battling for the last 2 spots. Dorinda Stone swinging away. The way it works is 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4. First thing tomorrow morning. Winner of 1v2 straight to the grand final. Loser of 1v2 plays the winner of the 3v4 game in the preliminary final. So final softball on the line today for all of these teams.
And Eric and Anthony, I see with interest they've started with Johanna Grauer here. I just wonder how long she'll go through this game.
Yo Grauer, the ace of this SA staff, has been very impressive so far this tournament.
Yeah, and Sarah Tonkin behind the plate too, giving Bell White a rest because Bell copped a 95k fastball last night right on the outside of her knee, which looked super painful. So, the Coach Benedictson doing the right thing and letting her have that morning off. So
Lana Kaesler starting at 3rd base, Chelsea Robinson starting at shortstop, Amber Hood at 2nd. That's probably their main 3 in terms of 3rd base, shortstop, 2nd base. Millie Fidge getting the call. She's pitched last night. She's playing over at 1st base. As Dorinda Stone fouls his way, Sarah Tonkin catching. Taylor Chillingworth in left field, Maddie Cameron in center, and Gemma Letton in right field. For Queensland, Dorinda Stone, Harari Kurihara, Tamika Whitefield, Aaron West, Janice Blackman, Mo Kurihara, Charisma Burton, Tallulah Sivanasiva, and Jessica Rode. That is your 9. And Queensland really have to throw the kitchen sink at every one of their games to try to really push themselves into a final spot.
Yeah, Dorinda Stone, they moved her into the leadoff spot yesterday against New South Wales in what was a
maybe a closer game than the scoreline sort of presented. So it was sort of back and forth a bit. It ended up being 8-4 to the Fire Starters. But yeah, Queensland, they're hitting, just starting to come together. It's that ability just to string multiple hits together that's going to be important.
Queensland started off 0-2 on day number 1. This one goes up the middle, over towards Robinson. Robinson to Fidge, and it's 1 retired. They started off 0-2 on day 1, but it was a much better day for Queensland yesterday, even though they only won 1 of their 3 games. They actually led in all 3 of their matches that they played. They had a 4-0 lead versus ACT. They squandered that, and they ended up losing that game. They had a lead later in the ball game, in the last half of the ball game versus New South Wales. Couldn't hold on there before. And they've also finally ended up beating Victoria. It was in
it was 5-4 in that game.
And they had a big lead
halfway through, and they scored 8 runs in the last innings, and it just, that last innings never seemed to end to me.
Just for those watching on the Eastern Seaboards, on Diamond 2 today, New South Wales Fire Stars versus the ACT Diamonds. So Grayson Walk got the pitching start for the Diamonds, and Grace Rickson is on the diamond at the moment for the New South Wales Fire Stars, 0-0 in the first.
Harari Kurihara in the batter's box for Queensland.
Dangerous batter.
Also plays on the under-23s league for Queensland.
Yeah.
So I guess she'll be sticking around in SA, right? Play under-23s later this week.
I've seen a bit of
there's only a day break.
Yeah, so. I saw a bit of her yesterday, and my word, she can run, but she just puts the ball on the ground. You're going to really have to be sharp on at third base like where Lana is, because to get her out's going to be tough.
She lives in Cairns, and she's been kind of training remotely for it. But Joyce Lester is the one that has been kind of coaching and working with her up in Cairns. It feels like a pretty good person to be working with.
Yeah,
handy. Yep.
Outstanding softballer in her own right, Joyce, over the years. Terrific player.
Silky smooth player that Harari Kurihara is described as. So her sister Mo also plays on the team, but Yo Grauer gets her to chase. And Grauer looking calm, cool, and relaxed. She is a very big threat.
That's the one thing that Grauer's got, I think, that's going to be a big weapon tomorrow, is that she's got that away ball to the left-handers as a right-handed pitcher that I've seen nobody else have here.
And they can't make contact on it.
And so those types of hitters that are trying to slap that ball, it's not only breaking away, it's breaking away and down. And that's going to be a real weapon tomorrow.
Tamika Whitefield has a ball right up inside. Just a great athlete, Tamika Whitefield, one of the leaders of this team, but a lot of pressure put on a young, just 22, 23-year-old Tamika Whitefield to run this team.
It's funny you're saying that. I was watching New South Wales, Queensland yesterday with my daughter, and I was sort of saying that the young lady out there...
Whitefield over to the right field line. She's got a base hit, sorry.
No, absolutely. Is that she was 22 and she's playing second base, and you can just see the young pitcher, Chelsea, who's only 17, thrown against New South Wales, got a couple of hits against her, and it was the experience of the 22-year-old Whitefield that came in, and you could see settle the infield and show some amazing leadership for a kid so young. She was super impressive yesterday, and that's a great shot to get a Queensland their first base runner.
Puts it on for the
we've mentioned it before about Tamika. She's an athlete, isn't she? Oh, gee, she can play. I saw a bit of her yesterday in the Vic game. Just run, hit, as we just seen with her first turn at bat. Cracking shot to right field.
Captain of the team, Aaron West, comes up to bat, batting in the cleanup spot for Queensland. She's got a little bit of power about her, Aaron West. 31 years old. She's sort of come back towards the end of this off of an injury, looking for that elusive championship right now that's kind of evaded her the last few years. New South Wales have run the Gillies Shield the last 4 or 5 competitions.
They've won 6 of the last 7, with the only blemish there, Queensland winning the 2016, and before New South Wales started their 6 of 7 run was WA. So yeah, could be worse. You could be South Australian. You could go back to the 1956. That's how long we've waited. So.
Yeah, what's that, 56 years? 66 years? 66 years.
Before my time.
Oh, I was about to say, you were born, Lee, wasn't it?
66 years ago, the last time South Australia won a Gillies Shield. That's what they're trying to chase at home. This is the first time South Australia's hosted the competition since 2005. That one fouled back from Aaron West. How does South Australia play this today? I mean, we talked at the top of the broadcast about Queensland needing to basically attack every game like it could be their last to try to get into the finals. 2 of the 3 teams are going to get in the bottom 3 at the moment. There is a chance that SA do play in the 3-4 game. Like we said, it would have to go disastrously wrong, even if they lose all their games. In all likelihood, it is likely they will be in 1-2. There's a small % chance. So SA know that in all likelihood, it's a 1-2 game versus New South Wales. If they win that, straight to the grand final. If they lose, they're going to have to play one of these 3 teams. So what do you show the other 3 teams that you might have to play again later in the tournament?
Well, it's really hard to sort of figure out what you're going to do about that 9 o'clock game tomorrow morning. 1v2 is going to be the second most important game of the tournament, and obviously that's logic.
Aaron West jammed just a little bit. It drops in front of Amber Hood. Calm play makes the out. So SA not really pressured too much, just the lone hit to Tamika Whitefield, but Yo Grauer looking very comfortable.
The reason for that, of course, is that the loser of 1v2 tomorrow morning at 9 has to back up at 11:30, whilst the winner goes through, rests up for the final later in the afternoon, and you've basically got to play 3 games to coming from that spot. So that's a huge ask. Today for SA, yes, there's huge management capability on their pitching staff because they've only got the 3 main pitchers, but keeping their offense going, which is the important thing for them. Like at the moment, they're batting the lights out.
Full team chat right now around the circle. Literally every player, including the bench players, are in the circle waiting for Emily Solomon to get in there. This is not what we see before every game, the full team out there on the field right now.
No, that's a Queensland thing. They do that. They do that every game, every before they start. So, yeah, it just shows the bonding, I suppose, of the Queensland team, the mixture of youth as well as their experience.
So not unique for Queensland, but for everybody else.
Yeah.
I've never seen it done by any other state. It was fantastic. Camaraderie.
Well, boys, we've talked a lot about Queensland as this team that has a lot of pressure point players, a lot of speed to burn, a lot of athletes, but the question around them is their experience. Now, a lot of talented players. They've won national championships at junior levels, so we know they're winners. But take a look at this infield. Mo Kurihara, she's 22 years old. Tamika Whitefield, 22 years old. Harari Kurihara, 19 years old. Tallulah Sivanasiva, she's 16 or 17 years old. Jess Rode catching at catcher, she's 19 years old. Emily Solomon, the pitcher, she's 17. Tamika Whitefield is the veteran in that infield. Mostly teenagers in this lineup.
That team can play in the under-23s next week.
That team can play in the under-23s this week.
And they're here, yeah.
And they're here, and they're so close to breaking through. Like, they've lost to SA by 1 run yesterday. Like, they're not, this Queensland team is not getting blown out in 1-4. They are a very good 1-4 record, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And your interview with Coach Jenkins in the week talked about the fact that as this tournament went on, they would get better. And that's exactly what's happened. Every time they play, they are looking a bit better. So, it's a young pitching staff, so it's a tough ask. But the leadership of Whitefield, it's been impressive.
Then you have the international experience in the outfield, right field, Janice Blackman, Aaron West, center field, Charisma Burton, left field. This one is flying out to Aaron West. She'll make the play, so Chelsea Robinson flies out. Queensland had some disrupted training. The floods severely impacted Queensland. Coach Jenkins talked about how he's been living out of his car with all their softball gear getting ready to go. So you have a disjointed training, a young team, lots of inexperience, but outrageous talent on this team. If Queensland can start putting it together and get hot today, I wouldn't be shocked if they're one of those teams that could be playing in a gold medal game tomorrow.
Yeah, you touched on their age, or how young they are, and you said they're going to get better as the week goes on. That happens with young people, doesn't it? More practice and more games they get at this level, they get better.
Well, they had a tough Saturday, and then they came out Sunday morning yesterday. Their first game was against ACT, and we saw that. And they scored 4 in the first innings, and they looked super impressive. They were aggressive. They were on the base pass. They were up and about. But unfortunately, just the attrition with the young players as that game went on, and the Diamonds were able to get back into it. They made some changes, made some adjustments, and were able to run them down in the end.
Sarah Tonkin up to bat for SA. Emily Solomon, a very impressive 17-year-old pitcher. She was just at the under-18 Nationals. Kind of got overshadowed by Chelsea Zunker a little bit, who was the player of the tournament there. But she's she looks like a pitcher, Emily Sullivan.
Yep.
And she's been super impressive, and she seems to be the first pitcher they go to the moment there's a bit of trouble. So every time they've had that change, she's been the one that they've gone to. So she's starting to throw some meaningful innings and doing a great job with it.
What a tournament Lana Kaesler has had. She's the woman up to bat for South Australia. She's got 5 hits so far, 3 of them triples, 1 of them a grand slam, 8 RBIs. Played some stellar defense at third. She's elevated her gameplay compared to what we've seen locally, and she's a very talented player there too. She's just taken it to a whole other level. Swing and a miss, feeling very confident.
Yeah, apart from her consistency, Eric and Anthony, it's her power she's been showing, isn't it? Absolute power, crunching the ball.
But Weathers, based on past performance in Open Women's tournaments, should we be surprised that Lana Kaesler is pacing this offense?
No, she was impressive in 2020 statistically. So, and obviously a leader of this group. I mean, she spoke on the interview a few nights ago about how, they've been building towards this and in the background. So, had the team over her place before the tournament started. So, and still young.
Kaesler,
And there she goes again.
business as usual. A base hit to the right side. They're going to test the arm. It's a throw over to the right side. Kaesler trying to stretch it to 2.
Yeah, hit and run that was coming, wasn't it? Get ahead in the count, that's what you play.
So
They did. It was a great shot.
Yeah, she is as good an inside-out hitter as I've seen, Kaesler. Like, if you go back and look at the tape where she's hitting a lot of these triples, her power zone is obviously that left field fence. We've seen her hit home runs over there.
The back girl, Belle White, picking up the bats.
Yep, handy. But Lana's ability to hit the ball inside out is...
Well, she plays the ball on its merits.
Yeah,
wherever it is, she hits at that area.
And that would be coaching, like with Mel McGee, who's obviously had plenty to do with her. Mel's a huge exponent of the hitting the outside pitch, and Lana is just a master at that.
Maddie Cameron steps into bat, and she has a few RBIs to her name too, and she might have one here. This is flared out towards right field. It's a nice catch by Janice Blackman. It's going to be an easy tag up. Sliding into third is Lana Kaesler. She'll be safe. Sarah Tonkin has scored. So Maddie Cameron only had to get the ball to the outfield to score a run. She does exactly that, and it's a 1-0 lead for South Australia.
How good's Maddie Cameron? Just, runners at 2 and 3, 1 out. Plays the situation, gets a high pitch on the outside, goes with it, puts it up nice and high. Blackman reads it well, makes a good catch deep going back, but scores the opening run for...
How strong is her arm, Janice Blackman? My goodness.
Not entirely sure she needed the cut-off.
Taylor Chillingworth steps up to bat, but Maddie
Just
Cameron...
bypass a cut-off.
Maddie Cameron in the last game versus ACT yesterday afternoon in a very gritty 4-1 win for South Australia. She had 3 RBIs in that game, 1 RBI coming in each of the at-bats, and all done in different ways. 1 off a double, 1 off a single, and 1 off a sacrifice fly. So Maddie Cameron playing the team game and just figuring out ways to bring the runners home. And she's got 9 RBIs for the tournament now, too. She is having a special, special event.
Yeah.
And Taylor Chillingworth came in and had a hit last night against New South. Stand-up triple. It was a cracking shot.
South Australia have scored the most runs and allowed the least.
Which is funny when you look at the 2020 Gillies Shield, when they made that final, they were, Queensland had scored nearly 2.5 times the runs that they had scored and finished third. So it's...
Change the personnel, you think? Maybe?
Yeah, there's been some big changes.
Yeah.
Taylor Chillingworth, as this ball gets away, Lana Kaesler is not even going to need to slide in. She'll touch home, and it's a 2-0 lead for South Australia.
And so here we go, and there's some great evidence there too. You just saw the shortstop Whitefield come in just then, pass ball. You could see some of the young shoulders drop, and it was Whitefield that came in from shortstop and just told him, "Hey, let's reset. Let's get back on this batter." Just amazing leadership for someone so young.
If you want to know what the South Australian coaching staff and ranks think of Taylor Chillingworth, who's just 18 years old, look at where she's batting in the lineup today on day 3 of the tournament. Wasn't a starter on day 1, and now she's batting 5th in between Maddie Cameron, who some say is the best player not on the current senior squad on the national team, and Yo Grauer, who's an NCAA pitcher and one of the better hitters in the competition and MVP locally.
Everything you just said then was 100% true.
And Taylor Chillingworth is an excellent defensive player too. Got a good arm, plays in the local league shortstop normally.
Yes.
But she's playing left field in this game.
Super athlete. Both times that she's come into the game against New South, like she did last night, like she did in the game one, both were long ball shots up centre right.
Yeah, she's got the power.
A player that seems to just want to be able to do everything.
Yeah, and I think the higher you go in the sport, the argument being the jack of all trades and master of none, or the vice versa, the higher you go, the more pigeonholed you become in being an elitist at your position. But we've seen so much evidence this weekend of the girls now, they're all athletes.
Chillingworth is going to ground this over towards Whitefield. It's a bang-bang play, and Chillingworth pumps herself up. She hustled that one out.
Yeah, great play. Well read by Whitefield at shortstop. She got over, she did everything she could, but Chillingworth just too fast. And that's evidence of what we're talking about. Just they're all athletes, so they can all do multiple things really well. I mean, Chillingworth, as Lee said, we see her play shortstop here in the local league, but she could play outfield. She could do a variety of different things.
Yo Grauer, one of Chillingworth's mentors in softball. Grauer came over to South Australia in the 2020 season, right before the pandemic hit, with Port Adelaide as the import player. She won the best and fairest, the Kath Coral medal in the local competition. And she's going to get a base hit here. That one's going to knock down, and that's going down to Death Alley. That's rattling up against the wall. Taylor Chillingworth is going to score easily. Yo Grauer has a double. She's thinking about a triple. She'll stay at 2. Chillingworth will score, and Yo Grauer has made it a 3-0 ball game.
It's the power of Grauer on display then, wasn't it?
And that's, I mean, I think Yo came to the bat last night. And the only thing that was going against her last night was every time she came to the plate, Kayser and Cameron had already hit all the runs in. She didn't get a chance to do that, so she gets a chance today. So great shot by Yo. So.
Dangerous batter.
Millie Fidge comes up to bat. She pitched yesterday. If you want some entertaining content, go to the Softball South Australia Instagram page. Yesterday, Millie Fidge, along with her partner in crime, Miss Neve Adams, ran a bit of a takeover. They were interviewing all of the different players. Millie Fidge, she's a goofball, just like probably her dad. But
can you be more specific, please?
Who said that? Was it Eric that said that?
Eric.
Right.
She had her phone, and she had a photo of the microphone. She just had a photo of a microphone on her phone, and she was using that to interview all the different players. But she did ask some very good questions, getting some insightful responses. She asked Jade Peterson about who on the Stars she'd least like to leave her kids with for the day. Questions about.
I know what Jade's answer would be, and that would be Scott.
Yeah, she said Bell White for that one. But she asked some pretty funny questions on there. But some of the questions she asked were even to Bill Benedictson about, well, questions like who on the team has the most team spirit. Bill Benedictson said Lana Kaesler without hesitation for that, and that says a lot for a team that has a lot of team spirit. But if you're looking for some insights of what that tournament looks like, Millie Fidge did an excellent job of that. And she's a pretty good softballer too, off to the University of Hawaii shortly.
Yeah, and great job yesterday on the mound against, in the circle against the ACT yesterday afternoon. That was a big game, and she wasn't fast.
This one fouled. It's gonna look at Tamika Whitefield try to hunt this down.
She's quick, isn't she?
Oh wow, yeah. Just while we were talking there about the Instagram page, Coach Jenkins timed out and just went out to his very young infield and to his pitcher there, Emily Solomon, and just tried to get them to just get an opportunity to take a breath and reset. SA have come out and their hot bats keep on hitting hard.
Millie Fidge lifts it towards the outfield. It's a bit of an awkward spot, but Janice Blackman ranging under makes the play. But a walk to Tonkin, and then a hit to Kaesler, sac fly from Cameron, back-to-back hits from Chillingworth and Grauer, and it's a 3-0 SA lead after one. And the bats have not cooled off from last night when they put up a big number versus New South Wales, they're carrying that over versus Queensland this morning.
Yeah, and that's important, isn't it? Just not to put the bats in your back pocket and just say, well, we've done a terrific game last night and just come out and just have a bit of fun. No, just keep it going.
This is also huge. What's the runs allowed in the current standings right now? Because that's the first tiebreaker. So Queensland, whether they win or lose the game today, the amount of runs that they allow all of a sudden become important. Entering the game, Queensland was only in 4th place by virtue of the runs against. They had 26 allowed. ACT had 29. Well, on the live ladder right now, it is now 29-29 for Queensland and ACT, and ACT have the head-to-head. So at this exact moment, Queensland are now dropped into the 5th position. Now, a lot can change. We're in the 2nd inning, but I'm going to give you the live ladder, and now you might have an update.
I've got an update for you on that live ladder. Queensland have just gone back into 4th because the Fire Stars, with their full list available this morning, have jumped the ACT Diamonds. So we're in the top 2, and the Fire Stars are 3-0. The usual names, the usual suspects, McManus, Titsikonis, and Rickson batting in runs. So, yeah, the Fire Stars looking to have a short day by the look of it. They're out aggressively early.
If SA win this game and the Fire Starters lose, or if SA win their last 3 games today, in all likelihood they will be in 1st place and have the last bat in the 1-2 game. New South Wales guaranteed to play in that 1-2 game. The only thing to be determined is if they bat 1st or 2nd. Yeah. Janice Blackman up to bat, Aussie squad member and just an athlete.
Yeah, she was impressive yesterday. Took a great catch going back to right field and actually ended up going through, going partially through some of the fence. She was running that hard, that fast. So, but yeah, has looked ominous at the plate.
Plays for the Rebels Softball Club up Queensland.
Millie Fidge, you can just see there, just keeping herself entertained at first base, just throwing some curveballs and some drop balls and just keeping herself busy at first.
Minus the ball.
Minus the ball, of course.
Always pitching.
I reckon she's got a big day today, Millie Fidge. She's going to have some work to do. So, to be honest, I was surprised to see her on the field. I thought she would be out of the bullpen or starting in the middle for the remainder of the day. But Coach Benedictson's obviously looking to keep this batting team going.
Blackman lifts it towards shortstop. Chelsea Robinson moving under makes the play. Both teams in very different places on day 3. South Australia have the luxury of trying to manage their pitching staff, knowing they will be playing tomorrow and they will have a chance to play for a medal. Different people in different places in the lineup, get them in. Queensland, they have to go all out for all of their games because they're going to need some wins.
Yeah, I mean, when we were talking this morning, Eric, it's one of those things I was trying to figure out. You know, if you're Queensland or Victoria or the ACT, are you looking to put all of your eggs in that one basket and go, this is my best team, my best pitching staff, and that's the game that I need to go and win, and I'm going to go for it. But it's evident early by the way that the teams are lining up. I get the sense that most of the teams are just going to go with their best from the outset, and it's just going to be attrition through the day, and they're just going to have to keep pushing because anything can happen on day 3 of a Nationals, you know, so the results can get a little bit crazy. But at the moment, the SA Stars bats are just so hot. You can see it's hard to keep them contained.
Mo Kurhar up to bat, sorry.
Queensland, the only way they can answer it is with their own offense. You can't seem to contain the Stars, so if that's the case, you need to go into a shootout with them and just try and score as much as you can.
Queensland will have games versus Victoria and ACT later on. Those are the 2 teams that they are battling with. So in all likelihood, those are the 2 games that Queensland will be looking at saying, yep, we win those, we're going to be okay.
Oh, well, they're 4-point games, aren't they? I mean, not only are you just getting a necessary win, but you're taking it off one of the teams that you're against. So absolutely. So that's probably why Solomon's starting this one, I think. I reckon obviously they're going to save, for the next one.
Sandy Holden held a very good SA batting lineup to just 2 runs back in the 2nd game of the tournament on Saturday, which feels like a lifetime ago. Very dangerous and crafty veteran, Sandy Holden.
Consistent pitcher. I saw her yesterday in the game against the Vics, and that's what impressed me about Sandy was the consistency.
Mo Kurihara still battling away, still working on a couple strikes. Offers that one. Did she go around?
Yes, she did. Yeah.
She did. She struck out. Second strikeout of the day for Yo Grauer. Queensland, though, a talented team. Charisma Burton coming up to bat. When you're looking at Queensland, you just got to ask a simple question. And you'll get yes and no responses for both. And it's on their day, can they beat South Australia? Can they beat New South Wales? And the answer is probably yes. They can beat those two teams in a game. They can beat any team in this competition. The task they'll have in front of them tomorrow is that they'll have to beat 3 in a row. Good play across the diamond from Lana Kaesler, who makes the play.
A good take by Millie Fidge, had to stretch right to her left.
So that's the question for Queensland. It's not can they beat these teams, because I think the answer is yes, and they've been in positions to win almost every game they've played. Tomorrow, they're going to have to win 3 straight games if they want to win gold.
Yeah, tomorrow there's only going to be one team that's going to have the major benefit, and that's that team that goes through first, because they get that rest. Everybody else is going to have to play a lot of games to get to that, and that's what you want. You want to obviously, if you're top of the ladder and you make your way through straight to the final, then you should have the advantage, and it should be hard. But with the amount of games that the teams are playing, it's going to be a really tough ask. So, it's the question of management today, but at the same stage, needing to win to get to the opportunity for tomorrow.
SA put up 3 runs in the first inning, RBIs to Grauer and Cameron. Gemma Letton, Amber Hood are due up, and then Chelsea Robinson, followed by Sarah Tonkin. Now, if you follow the local Premier League competition in South Australia, gentlemen, I'm going to play some trivia here for you. I just want quick answers as we get the changeover. Gemma Letton plays for Port Adelaide. Where does she bat in her lineup?
8.
Lead off.
Where does she
Oh,
bat?
in Port.
In Port, yeah. What?
Lead off. Yeah.
Amber Hood, West Torrens. Where does she bat?
Lead off.
Chelsea Robinson, Walkerville. Where does she bat?
I'll take a guess and say lead off.
Sarah Tonkin, Sturt. Where does she bat in her lineup?
Lead off.
4 straight natural leadoff hitters coming up for the SA Stars in this lineup.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it, really?
And they're all good enough, though.
Any one of them could start.
Yeah, it's all good. They're all good enough, though, to adapt their roles. Like, we've seen Robinson this week so far playing in the 2 spot traditionally as an advancing runner. So
Queensland having a quick word with young Emily Sullivan on the mound.
no, they've just asked the grounds crew just to do a little bit of work in the outfield, which they've run on and done. Grounds crew done an absolutely amazing job this weekend.
Gemma Letton comes up to bat. She's had a nice weekend this weekend, and in particular last night.
Yeah, she was. Last night she was really good. I mean, we were talking about who should be interviewed after the game as the best player, and naturally Jade got that Guernsey, but Gemma was in the conversation because not only she was super effective with the bat and aggressive on the base path, she was rock solid out at right field. Took some great catches
And got an arm.
Stars have had contributions from pretty much everybody on this team so far. She's trying to lay down the running bunt. She runs it out anyways. And when you lead the competition in offense, well, now they're tied with New South Wales again, as New South Wales have put up 3 runs as well, although SA has played 1 less game. You'd probably expect that if you're putting up the number of runs that SA is, when you see a team put up 14 runs in a game, you'd expect that everybody's contributing at some point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no, they're a deep side. I mean, obviously, all the teams here are in their own way. I suppose if there's a weakness that the Stars may have is that they're probably a starting pitcher short, which was just a matter of circumstance, unfortunately, with Trzynski just happening to leave before the start of the tournament. If she was here now, it would be...
she'd be handy.
Oh, it'd be a significant change to the way that they're going about it. So
having a 4th pitcher in general for the Stars probably would have been helpful on a day like today. But Letton strikes out, so Emily Sullivan nicely working, gets her first strikeout of the day.
Yeah, the Queensland Heat here, they've just slowed the pace of the game down. They're just taking a bit more time. And we saw a bit of this last night with New South Wales just taking their time, just trying to unsettle SA, who seem to be keen to just keep going and pushing. So good maturity by a young Queensland Heat team.
Just break the momentum up. That's what you need to do, don't you?
Yeah.
Try and get your team to play at your pace rather than fall into the trap of playing at their pace.
That's right.
Whereas I'm sure when Queensland go back to bat, they love to get that pace
Ooh,
back
that's a
up.
rip.
But an opposite field hit for Amber Hood.
How good is she going?
The second leadoff spot for Amber Hood, who's an on-base machine, gets a base hit to the opposite field, and it's a runner on for Chelsea Robinson.
Yeah.
Four safe hit for SA already.
Yeah, Amber's having a good tournament. She's super impressive, great in the field. So 1 out, runner at first with great speed. Chelsea Robinson last night executed probably the perfect bunt, as Mark Cramp was saying. It was just in the right spot. See if she can do it again.
Belle White, the notable absence from this lineup for South Australia, and had a few injuries yesterday, or a few bumps and bruises, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She's healthy, she's just getting rested.
Yeah, 95K fastball.
Big shot towards center right field. Running
Clear.
back is West, and it's cleared her head. Robinson will stand on 2. Amber Hood will stop at 3. And the SA Bats are still well and alive.
That was a long ball.
Yeah, that's going to feel good for Chelsea Robinson. She's been searching for that this tournament so far. She's been playing a variety of roles where she's had to advance runners, play short, and when she's had those long shots, a lot of them have gone to the field. But that time, she's opened up the diamond, gone deep centre right, Hood at third, Robinson second, 1 out, and Sarah Tonkin comes to the plate.
Sarah Tonkin batting 2 in the lineup. Catch in the game today. Lana Kaesler waiting on deck, but Belle White would normally be in the lineup, and she will be back there. And she arguably is making a case to be in consideration for player of the tournament, Belle White, already.
Yeah,
She's had an impact in every game in some different way, whether it be her defensive abilities, like we saw versus ACT. She hit a clutch game-tying home run in the first game versus New South Wales in the 7th. She's driven in runs. She scored the winning run versus Queensland back in game number 2. Every time she's played, she's done something impactful, and that's not considering her catching the pitchers, which have allowed the least amount of runs so far.
yeah, absolutely.
Tonkin up the middle.
You make a great case.
They're going to hold up the runner, so a very good ground ball out from Emily Sullivan right here.
I think Lana Kaesler might have take some votes off of her. I think the tournament she's having. Maddie Cameron might take some votes off the tournament she's having. Grau's been impressive.
Stacey McManus.
Yeah,
Taylor Titsacronis.
Titsacronis Cox from New South
What
Wales.
about Grace Rickson?
Yeah, Claire Warwick's been good for the ACT. So there's definitely some great players all doing their part.
So we've got 11 contenders for player of the tournament.
Can you break it down a bit? Can you break it down a bit?
Can we make it a team of the tournament? Can you do that? Just some news for the Queenslanders. There's some activity in their bullpen.
Lana Kaesler stepping up. She's already got a hit in this game.
So Laura Coulter has just headed down into the bullpen.
Now that's a relief to hear.
She's spoke to her late yesterday afternoon, and it didn't look awesome, but you could. She wanted everybody to know that she's totally fine, but she's back here today. She's in the bullpen now, just starting to warm up, just to give Solomon some cover.
Emily Sullivan quickly gets ahead on Lana Kaesler. She was in a bit of trouble with runners on second and third and 1 out in the middle of the lineup coming up. Good block from Jessica Rhodes, saves a run.
Yeah, great block. That's great catching. Tell you what, we've got some good catches in Australia. We've got some great pitchers in Australia. I mean, like, Australian softball's in a really good place right now. Young talent too. That's the real impressive part of it.
Up the middle, another ground ball. Whitefield scoops, gathers, throws, and they make the play. So Emily Sullivan gets herself into a little bit of trouble, but then she gets 2 ground balls from 2 very good hitters. Well done from Emily Sullivan.
Yeah, great play. And you can see Whitefield just, again, still with that the field out there, which has seen some weather earlier in the week and starting to harden up. Whitefield still needed to get her feet. It was a bit of a high throw, but Sikanov was good enough to take that.
Potentially a momentum turner right there when you have runners in scoring position, Lee, and you can get that big ground balls.
You certainly can, and that's what one of her assets, isn't it, Tamika? She's quick over the ground, and that's what you need at your shortstop position, don't you? Somebody that can cover the ground, both sides of the field, and her throw is just spot on, you know. And well taken by Tallulah. It's not easy, playing at first base.
She was on her tippy toes.
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
right, she was, and that makes her about 8 foot tall.
She's going to get the first at-bat, Tallulah Sivanasiva, and, I mean, we've seen her. She had a triple earlier in the tournament. She can drive that softball.
Update on Diamond 2's Fire Stars, still New South Wales Fire Stars. 3-0 against the ACT Diamonds. Bottom of the 3, Rickson still in the circle, in control.
Runs allowed, so important for both of these teams, and that's why that run allowed, or those runs saved right there from Emily Solomon, might have just been huge to not let SA tack on to that score, because right now that's why Queensland's in 4th. It's by virtue of the runs allowed tiebreaker. Boy, I can't wait for the Queensland ACT game later on today. Yesterday was one of the best games between Queensland's ACT of the tournament.
Yeah, and the Sivanasiva at the plate at the moment, you know, big first Saturday, big triple, some great hits, and then yesterday against an on-fire Parker from the ACT pitching, 3 strikeouts, and so back again up today. So this is what happens with those young players. It's not going to be a consistent line.
It's a
all the
learning
way through.
curve.
It's an up and down as you're facing the best of the best. It's a tough gig for a 16-year-old.
And when you're so tall like she is, any pitcher worth their salt is going to throw inside and low, mainly because you can't get to it with the bat. That's the thing, and that's what tied her up yesterday.
Super powerful swing.
Yeah. So you don't throw the ball up. That's for sure.
That pitch just there.
Yeah, it's the height. Yeah. That's the height you go.
Yeah, that's probably a strike on most batters.
Yeah.
In a couple of years, she's going to be a bane upon the league as far as home runs, I reckon.
I'd like to see her turn on one. Almost had one, just jammed just a little bit.
Yeah, and that was up a bit, and she made contact with it. See, I would throw change up here.
Fouled back away. A really good at-bat from Tallulah Sivanasiva.
Yep. The reason I said that, Eric, was because that's the thing she's not expecting. She goes in there, she's expecting, from yesterday, she's expecting the pitch to be low all the time. And she's looking for the one that's got some air to it. And I'm sure she can clout it. There it is.
And it's grounded over towards Kaesler. She's going to have to be good on this, and she is.
And that's the changeup.
Look at the Easton replay in a second there, but Lana Kaesler on a slow roller. Had to be quick, but she made it look easy. But a good at-bat from Tallulah Sivanasiva, table setting, getting things tough for SA.
Yeah.
Got to see a lot of pitches.
That's a great field by Lana. Hustled over, stayed low, throw perfect. Fidge only had to lean off the base.
Jessica Rode, another player that's going to be playing 23s this week. Whole team, like you said, could. She was on that ill-fated under-18 team that didn't get to go overseas. That's the national team.
That would have been a shame for the girls, wouldn't it?
Still reckon there should be some sort of exemption, like those teams.
Jessica Rode only became a catcher. She's catching this game right now in the last 18 months. She's been working closely with Sandra Holden just to work on those aspects of catching. So she's a very young catcher, young in age. She's only 19, but a young catcher learning the craft, and here she is catching in a very crucial game for Queensland at the highest level you can play in this country. She's going to put the ball in play. It's an awkward spot. Hood knocks it down. Can she make the play? And Rode hustles it out. It'll be a base hit for Jessica Rode. And Queensland, with 2 plucky at-bats, have a base runner for their top of the lineup.
That's their second hit for the game so far.
Look at the Easton replay. Good effort, though, from Hood. Dorinda Stone grounded out in her first at-bat.
Top of the lineup.
She's made some really nice plays at third base throughout the tournament, Dorinda Stone.
She's been a good player for a long time. I remember her playing for Queensland in the under-19s here in 2015.
Grounded up the middle. Chelsea Robinson, what a play.
Super play, that one.
She makes everything look so cool, Chelsea Robinson, and that will be another one in the book of cool for the local Walkerville Cat. Look at this Easton replay. Runner does advance to second. And they'll have a runner for the catcher. Harari Kurihara. Up to bat. Lays down the bunt. Picked up by Grauer, and they make the play. So the infield, 3 different players making 3 different plays. One from Kaesler, one from Robinson, and one from Grauer. Just letting the infield do the work.
Yeah, far out. I mean, even that, the running bunt there, obviously advancing the runner at 2 out of risk, but she only missed it by a step. So Queensland trying everything. Sort of have to with Grauer on the mound doing what she's doing at the moment.
They're so athletic, though. I love it, though. You put the ball on the deck and you see what happens.
Yep.
Dorinda Stone hustled one out, and they were a great Chelsea Robinson play away from having 2 runners on with their middle of the lineup coming up. Queensland, that seems to be their MO, put that pressure on the defense.
Yeah, and we've talked about this, guys, plenty of times, haven't we, about putting the ball on the deck, give yourself a chance to run. It's going to take a good play, somebody with leg speed to get to the ball, like Lana, like Chelsea, and then execute a good throw to get you out.
Maddie Cameron, Taylor Chillingworth, Yo Grauer, 4, 5, 6 in the lineup will lead things off for the SA Stars. They've got a healthy 3-0 lead. All those runs scored in the first. Maddie Cameron had one of those RBIs. Just an exceptional talent, Maddie Cameron.
Powerful player. Huge arm she's got. One of the strongest arms in the business.
Saw that arm on display last night versus New South Wales.
Yep.
Stars just a win away from playing in that 1-2 game.
You can see Millie Fidge down in the bullpen, just staying warm, playing first base in the defensive innings, but
I like it that they've got in the bullpens, they've got that guarding the bullpen. I don't know if we got a shot of that. Is that Pippa Adkins doing the guarding?
I think so.
Shot over towards right field. Blackman has
Cameron.
to range back, and Maddie Cameron sent it over her head. Cameron rounding 2. She's looking for a triple. She's going to get there easily. Maddie Cameron with a leadoff triple.
And that's a display of the power she's got, isn't it? Because it looked like Janice had that covered, and then all of a sudden she said,
Yeah,
what? It's going over.
Turned her inside out.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, if there's been one real impressive part of SA's hitting this weekend so far, is that inside-out hitting, that ability to hit the centre right. Maddie Cameron can pretty much hit the ball anywhere she likes. So, great shot, great lead off.
Now there's an RBI on the deck for Taylor Chillingworth if she wants one. This one in foul territory. Whitefield wants it herself. It goes back into fair territory. Whitefield made the play.
That's a good catch. And, I mean, there's no wind here really to speak of today, but just the way that ball spun, it just seemed to spin back into play.
It did. Took a right-hand turn.
So 1 out and brings Johanna Grauer to the plate with Cameron at third.
Hit a double her first turn at bat. Yo.
Grauer goes crack on the first pitch. This one back towards the wall. Going over, and it just drops it against the fence. Grauer with her second double of the game. It's her second RBI of the game. She had her birthday yesterday. She's having her party today. It's a 4-0 lead for SA.
Well, I know obviously what she's wished for, but I thought that might have something to do with tomorrow. But she's having a great day so far today. Dominant in the circle and 2 huge doubles. So
Consistent hitting, you love that, don't you?
Oh, their bats are on fire.
And it's important it stays hot, isn't it? As Millie Fidge is warming up, so they're going to have a pinch. They're going to have a substitution, I think, now.
Yeah. So
Does that mean Fidge likely coming in the game?
I would. Well, it's Adkins that's coming in to bat.
Adams.
Sorry, Adams.
Is it Adams or Adkins? I can't see.
No, it's Adkins. Sorry, that's right. Yeah, she's coming in, so you'd assume that she'd play first, or maybe. Yeah. Whether or not she's just in to give Millie some more time to warm up, or wouldn't think it would just be for the at-bat. See what happens.
Well, I guess there's different ways you can approach the SA pitching staff today. They have 3 games, 3 pitchers, and you know Yo Grauer is throwing tomorrow.
It's just going to have to throw meaningful innings tomorrow and probably more than 7. So
assuming that South Australia are in that 1-2 game, which is a safe assumption, do you throw your ace in the 1-2 game, or do you hide your ace in the 1-2 game?
you have to. You have to approach the 9 o'clock game at
throw your
full
best.
strength. You have
Both teams?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the loser of that game, it's a massive loss, because not only do you have to play the extra game to get back, and then have that on you turn your doubleheader into a tripleheader, and they're all for a championship. So yeah, the 9 o'clock tomorrow game is going to be fireworks.
So there is a chance that you have to play the same team twice tomorrow.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And I would suggest that Yo's going to have to do the bulk of that work for SA in that regard. But
So SA will need to rest potentially her as much as possible.
well, that's why I think Fidge has got a big role to play today. I mean, Peterson's throwing 2 masterclasses against Queensland and New South Wales, but I still think she's got one last role to play late this afternoon, and I reckon that might be against Victoria late.
Adkins fouls one away. Living up in Queensland, Pippa Adkins right now, going to school there, so she'd be playing her softball against a lot of these women right now. Decided to play for the SA Stars in this competition. That's where she's from, South Australia. But she'd have familiarities with both of these squads today. And Adkins knocks one to right field. That drops in for a base hit. Rumbling around third. Joanna Grauer scores easily. It's an RBI for Pippa Adkins. And SA's hit machine keeps on coming.
That's 8 safe hits now.
That's insane. That is just insane hitting.
Well, we are now in the 3rd inning, and there's only 1 out, and 8 of the 9 batting orders have now been on base for South Australia. Everybody getting hits early.
Well, you get the sense that in the 3rd, looking forward, we did see that Coulter did go up and start warming up, but just starting to wonder if Queensland think they're going to be able to chase down 5 or 6 in the next 1 or 2 innings. Is it worth making the pitching change, or do we just try and get Solomon to get us to the end of this game so we can be ready for the next one? I'm starting to get the sense that's sort of the management that they're looking at.
Well, runs allowed are huge, though.
Yeah, they're spot on. Just an update too. Nice segue, Eric. It's New South Wales Fire Stars have moved up to 4 over the Diamonds in the bottom 5.
So Queensland have allowed 2 less runs than ACT right now. That's the differential. They're going to try a pickoff road. It was a good throw, but sliding in there, Pippa Adkins. Just a little bit off the bag, but she's got a quick release, doesn't she?
Yeah, I find it weird. Like traditionally, that's shortstop's ball, but the Queenslander's second base comes over and does it. So it needs to be perfect to work.
Chibble letting up the middle.
All right.
Make it 9 out of the 9 batting order spots for South Australia with 1 out in the 3rd inning that all have hits. This is incredible.
Well, the concern was this morning when we were doing the pre-game stuff was about that maintaining, and here comes Coach Jenkins for Queensland, so he might have seen enough. There might not be much more he can do, but was about SA maintaining this batting streak. It's just...
First in the lineup, Chelsea Robinson has a double. Sarah Tonkin has a walk and is scored, batting 2. Lana Kaesler batting 3, has a hit and is scored. Maddie Cameron has a triple. She's got an RBI and she's scored. Taylor Chillingworth has a hit and she's scored. Yo Grauer at 6th has 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. She's scored as well. Pippa Atkins came in for Millie Fidge. She's got a hit in the 7 spot. Gemma Letton has a hit in the 8 spot, and Amber Hood has a hit in the 9 spot. 1 to 9 production, and we have 1 out in the 3rd.
And Belle White would be saying to Coach Benedictson right now, thanks for resting me for this game. I genuinely appreciate that.
No Belle White in the lineup, and then some bats on the bench. Like Sophie Roberts, Steph Collette. They were looking at it was always going to be a free stolen base, wasn't it, for Gemma Letton?
I think we're going to see Laura Coulter very shortly.
Yeah, I think we have to. SA have just forced it to happen, especially with Hood's last double.
Hood puts it on the deck. They're going to try to hold the runner at 3, and they do. So a good ground ball from Emily Solomon. She did this in the 2nd inning when she had runners on 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. She got a few ground balls, and they got out of a bit of a jam.
Yeah, but Robertson went deep centre right last time, so yeah, again, unfortunately for Solomon and Queensland, there's just no let up at the moment. It's just constant pressure at the plate from the Stars.
On the live ladder, if Chelsea Robinson drives in these 2 runs in scoring position, Queensland drop down to 5th. She's going to put it out towards the right side of the diamond, ranging back. Tallulah Sivanasiva gave a good effort. That was always going to be a tricky play, but she made a good play on it.
Yeah, looking into the sun at the last minute too doesn't help.
Chelsea Robinson's 3rd at-bat in 3 innings. This is a relentless SA Stars lineup.
Good pitch. Good asking of the question by Solomon.
Robinson again going opposite field, moving over and making a nice play. Harari Kurihara. So they allowed 2 runs, but it could have been more. South Australia putting pressure on the base paths. They have a 5-0 lead after 3 innings, and they are looking impressive so far.
Yeah, well, maintaining the rage was the topic of conversation this morning. Coach Jenkins has pulled Queensland again in, and obviously just trying to find some positives in what at the moment is just a dominant batting display by the Stars. There's just no stopping it. So we're going to have to see some offensive support. We saw this yesterday with the ACT. Soon as Parker from the ACT got those runs back around her, you could just see it lifted her confidence, and she started throwing much harder. Her speed went up, her control went up, and then she went on a tear with some strikeouts through a fairly dominant part of the order. Solomon at the moment, she's got nothing to work with. You know, they just keep hitting, but until the offense actually brings some scoreboard pressure back to SA, there's not much we can do.
Well, it ends up being a bit of a bullpen outing for SA Stars starting pitcher Joanna Grauer. She's out of the game. She pitches 3 innings, allows 2 hits, strikes out a couple, allows no runs. She's had a very impressive tournament. Her day, well, not her day, but her game comes to an end, and Millie Fidge is going to come into the game. Belle White entering the game over at first base.
Yeah, they've made some changes, and I mean, I suppose at that particular scoreline at this time of the game, it's probably worth doing, but SA want a short game here. They want it over and done with as quickly as they possibly can.
So White is going to come into the game for Adkins, who came in for Fidge. So White will likely bat in the next inning. Grauer will have Fidge come in for her. So 3-1. So South Australia going to try to spread the love even more in terms of people getting in at bat.
Yeah.
Tamika Whitefield leads things off. Well, if there's a part of the lineup that can get a bit of a start offensively for Queensland, it's this part of the lineup.
Yeah, it's the big guns here, isn't it? Whitefield, West, Blackman.
Millie Fidge, as you said, Weathers, could be having a big day today. She's pitched only 8 innings in the first 5 games, so she's got some arm to burn today. Yesterday, she pitched 7 innings versus ACT, allowed just the 1 run on a couple of hits.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously there's some management there by the coaching staff, and they've done a good job of, you know, thing to remember, she's an 18-year-old as well. And it's her first Open Women's Nationals, but I think
Whitefield up the middle, Millie Fidge makes the play, 1 down.
The important part there is that Peterson's the one that's unlocked this for them, because Peterson's given them 2 full games against New South Wales and Queensland, and because of that, that's enabled them to, I suppose, be able to manage and protect Fidge in the way that they're trying to get her here. This will be real interesting because Tonkin's her club catcher, and Fidge and Tonkin as a battery, we always talk super positively in the Premier League. Sarah does just an amazing job of getting the best out of Millie Fidge, so I would expect things are about to get just a bit tougher for Queensland here.
Aaron West steps in. Swing and a miss on a pitch up high. Boy, South Australia has some good pitching stocks ahead of them. We talk a lot about New South Wales and the players that they're missing, but no Steph Drzezinski, no Georgia Hood. No Zolly Adams for South Australia. Other players like Maddie Scott can pitch as well. Like South Australia have a lot of players that are able to pitch. Poppy Carmen now off to the United States to pitch as well. There's a lot of players that will be good in the circle for a while for SA.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would think with some of the exposure that Space Quake have been able to give some of the other pitchers from some of the other states this weekend, some of the colleges in the US and some of the other teams around the world, seeing what some of the young talent that Queensland have got, New South Wales have got, Victoria have got, I reckon there might be some other opportunities in the near future for some of those players.
Aaron West settling in, and that is sort of another benefit of having, as West goes it over to Kaesler, good block across the diamond, 2 down. I was about to say, some of the benefit of having this live stream coverage for the local athletes in South Australia the last 6 years is there's a lot of players that have now a tape that they can send to college that works well. We've seen it with softball of players being able to put together that resume. We've seen it with baseball in the local coverage here too. Yeah. Multiple players. We've had one player get signed to a professional minor league contract because of the coverage that Spacequake does of baseball. But having this tool for the athletes, and no matter what the sport is, when there's a college pathway there, and there certainly is in softball, that helps put together a resume. Now, you get into college by your own ability and your talent and your work ethic, but having something to showcase helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Janice Blackman.
I must confess, coming to the tournament, I sort of thought, considering the coverage, what I thought being even a home tournament for the Stars, I thought at least those teams on the Eastern Seaboard, they'd have a fair good idea who we are in regards to what we've got. I mean, we broadcast the Premier League season here in SA, and I thought they'd have some good data on our hitters. So unless they're holding it all for tomorrow and it's a secret and I don't know about it, but it hasn't paid off.
Blackman.
That's out.
Just goes foul. Mo Kurihara on deck. But Millie Fidge has come in and she's got the first 2 outs. Yeah, one of your favorites, Millie Fidge, Lee Hull.
Yes, she certainly is, and she's got a great future, hasn't she? Look at the pedigree she's come from. Darren Fidge, 3 times Caps medalist in baseball, and Annie Fidge, an Australian selector, I believe, and she was a very good softballer too, Annie. So you get it from somewhere, Eric.
He wanted me to make the correction. I said on the broadcast that he was 67 the other day. He wanted just to let people know he's 65.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought you were being a little bit too loose with that. I thought he was going to pull you straight back up on that, but funny. I got a funny story about Darren Fidge.
Blackman puts it out towards the right field. Gemma Letton ranging under it, fighting the sun, moves to her right. She's a good fielder out there. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Millie Fidge. And the SA Stars led to the bottom of the fourth with a 5-0 lead.
I can't remember the reasoning behind it, but we had Darren Fidge play a game of softball with us for legitimate points. And I remember we didn't know what to do with him. We were all in awe of him. And we stuck him out at left field because I think we asked him where he wanted to play, and that was where he said. And I remember he got a ball out there and he threw the softball in from left field near the fence, and it legitimately hit the back fencing here behind the plate about 40 feet up. Like, who throws a tracer bullet from left field and it's still going up when it reaches the plate? It was the most. It was
specimen.
It was incredible, and he's a ripper fella, and what a resume and the pedigree that Fidge, and she's got a younger sister too, who's Ruby starting to do some good things in around.
And
club.
She's going to have a big role next year in Sturt.
Yeah, for sure. Different type of pitcher, but just as effective. Queensland have made that change. Solomon's come out, and Coulter bravely has stepped back into.
Well, yesterday her day ended early when a ball went straight back to her. It hit off the side of her face and into the glove of Dorinda Stone, funny enough, on what was a nice heads-up play from Stone. But that was a moment where your gut sort of sank a little bit. Luckily, she's okay.
Yeah, but how courageous is that 24 hours later to be back at the scene of the crime and facing the red-hot Stars bats at the moment.
And important to keep those runs off the board. Like we said, they allowed 2 more runs in the live ladder. They're bumped down to 5th. There's a lot I get that's going to change today. I understand that. But the live ladder is what the live ladder is. The score of the game is only what the score of the game is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Queensland don't want to just sort of have this game finished. They want this to... I mean, obviously they've got a triple header today as well, but they need more time for their bats to get back into it. You've got a pitching change. Fidge has come on. So, Queensland want time as well. So Coulter here needs to do her very best to quieten these bats down and get the heat back offensively at the plate.
Tonkin, Kaesler, Cameron. Tonkin, a very patient at-bat, too. She loves to drive right over that third base pocket over there.
Great selection of pitches to hit, Sarah. That's why she's good batting number 1 for Sturt in our competition, because she gets her money's worth when she bats. She knows which ones to leave, which ones to clear.
Yeah, she's only 157 centimetres, but her batting action, she actually sort of sits down a little bit and makes that zone even smaller. Yeah. And what it does is it just gives her that beautiful pitch. So
and the power's all generated in that little area.
Yeah,
and when she's going, she hits the ball hard up the middle, cracking shots.
When she's not at softball, she's lifting weights, and she is...
Ice hockey she plays.
Yeah, she's strong as.
Grounded over towards third. Dorinda Stone. Ball in the dirt. That one just gets away.
They didn't need that.
So Tonkin will reach for the second time today. And now Kaesler, Cameron, and Chillingworth lurk behind. Jessica Road will just have a quick word with Coulter.
So Benedictson's making another change here.
Neve Adams getting in. So Adams will likely go to third, I'm going to guess. She's played a bit of third locally. Just getting his players some time now.
Change for South Australia. 15 is out, replaced by 71.
Yeah, that's a straight swap, so she's going into the field.
So Neve Adams will play a bit of third base, the development player on this squad. Another one of those players. They took the Instagram takeover for Softball South Australia. Good takeover as well on the Softball Australia page. Bree Kimber from ACT took it over yesterday. Big shout out to the whole Softball Australia organization. There's a lot of national tournaments happening over the last 4 or 5 weeks. There's been a lot to cover, and you can get good comprehensive daily recaps. You can get all the scores from around the ground, see who won the best players on their socials. Their website allows you to find a club, a great showcase of this sport over the last month. That's at softball.org.au. Use that club finder if you want to play, no matter your age. Go chuck that in there, and it doesn't matter who you are, age you are, what gender you are, there is some place for you to play. Coulter gets a pitch over the plate, 2-1.
So none out, so
did she go around? I think she might have. She did. Just trying to get the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah. Adams, you see the power off the bat, goes foul.
Got a strong arm, this young girl. Neve Adams, too, when she plays at third. Rifles it and straight most of the time.
We're going to get a chance to see that, Lee.
We will.
plays a variety of roles too at the Falcons in clubland. She's you can play outfield with an arm like that, but she's also a fairly good catcher, which is just shows you the depth that Falcons have got with the Olympian White and Tonkin.
Adams to center field. Moving back is Erin West. She had to go well back to bring that in.
Good piece of the ball, wasn't it, from Neve?
Maddie Cameron now up to bat. She had a triple the last time. A dangerous, dangerous bat, Maddie Cameron.
Speaking of dangerous bats, McManus for the Fire Stars over in Diamond 2 has just hit a double scoring Tarly Moore as the Fire Stars go up 5-0 over the ACT Diamonds, bottom of the 5th.
So nothing's changed on the live ladder in terms of even run differential.
Nope. It's like somebody's running messages back and forth between the games. SA scored one, so we need to get another one back and vice versa. So
Fire Starters staring down now the barrel of a 6-1 start with one game to go in the minor rounds. They'll be playing in at least a prelim tomorrow, the Fire Starters. They might skip the prelim altogether, but at least that in terms of magnitude of games. SA Stars are very close to saying the same thing.
yeah, if you've got something on tomorrow morning, I would try and reschedule and rebook it. That 9 o'clock game tomorrow is going to be insane.
Just the whole day come down here, no matter who's playing. It's a great opportunity to go see the best players. It's a good day to chuck a sickie at work and come down here.
School holidays finished last night. I said to Mike,
what are you missing?
I said to my kids this morning, I said, why aren't you guys getting in uniform? Oh, we've got teacher free day. It's like, you've had teacher free day for the last fortnight.
Go the extra day, come down on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Cameron, does it stay fair? No. More of a lengthy at bat we're used to seeing, eh, Lee, from Cameron? We're used to seeing quick, short, sweet, right to it.
Yeah, she's getting her money's worth here, though. Normally she, fair few times she goes after the first pitch.
Well, we did see last night, though, as that game went on, she did start to get more change-ups at the start of her at-bat.
Good, quick, again, release from Jess Rowe. Did she get her? She did. What a play. Jess Rowe guns it down to Tallulah Sivanasiva, who scoops down and takes Tonkin out. What a play. Well, it's an out. And it's a walk for Cameron. But a quick release from Jess Rowe. We've seen that a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Titsikonis has done it a bit for New South Wales, and there was, I think, the left-handed catcher for the ACT. Definitely exposed that opportunity. Oh, sorry, no, that was for Queensland yesterday. They had the left-handed catcher.
Chillingworth now up to bat. She's already got a single and later scored in this game. Maddie Cameron's got some wheels.
I like what Coulter's done here. She's just slowed the pace of the game down, just making the SA batters have to take more pitches as she's just working them more around the zone. So SA's having to be more disciplined as they're going through the count, trying to find the pitch to hit.
Well, you're in the driver's seat with a score like this, aren't you? And then you can just play around a bit with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's power, isn't it, for a young person? So having seen that, the pitcher now, Coulter, should think about if she's got one, throw a change up, because her hands will be quick.
Key at bat because Belle White's standing on deck. And there's 2 outs. Runner trying to go. Cameron slides in, safe. Rhodes got a good arm.
Yep.
Take a look at the replay here.
Maddie Cameron can do it all, though.
Well,
Just had to reach a bit for it, didn't she, Tamika? And just then it takes her time to get the ball back, you know. Played it well, but just couldn't do much about it. And Cameron can run. Let's face it, she's a powerful runner.
Chillingworth, again, foul. Good effort from Bill Benedictson trying to scoop that one up.
I thought it was an error myself.
That's the beauty of it, though, is that Cameron takes that stolen base. So, I mean, if worst case scenario, she is thrown out at 2 out, retires the side. Chillingworth would at least then lead off the 5th. But
Yep.
now the situation, the benefit is you got a runner in scoring position.
Yep. That's the name of the game, isn't it,
Good.
Anthony? Just move them around. Just keep moving them around an extra base.
Yep.
And it's a walk for Chillingworth, and it's going to put a crucial run potentially on the board for South Australia. They've got runners on first and second. They got Belinda White coming to the plate. Now, it is 7 runs after 5, so if Belle White drives in these 2 runs, South Australia would all of a sudden be 3 outs away from an early day. Lots of work to do, but the Olympian Belle White has been impactful all tournament long. And the first pitch strike, Coulter going right after.
Yes, back-to-back base on balls, making a total of 3 for the game so far. against 9 safe hits.
Just slips away. Queensland allowed 3 runs in the first inning, and then SA pressured in the second. They're pressuring in the fourth. They haven't scored any runs in the second. They haven't scored any yet in the fourth. Third, they did break through for 2, but they had more chances with 2 runners in scoring position and 1 out. So Queensland has done a good job of damage limitation, and they might do it again here. Over towards left field, making the play is Charisma Burton. So SA has just been so pressureful in this game, and it is a 5-0 game. Queensland still within touch.
I like that word, pressureful.
Yeah, pressureful.
I'm not quite sure whether it's in the English language, but I like it.
It is now, Lee. So
we can make our own, can't we?
yeah. We have played 4 innings, but SA just getting people on the base pass all game long. Any update from the backfield?
No, it's top 6. Five Stars still 5-0 up.
Fire Stars, New South Wales. Grace Rickson having a great tournament.
Yeah, she's doing a good job. Ladner's come in though, so to relief. So obviously only the 2 games for New South. SA, on the other hand, with 3 games here today, looking forward to trying to keep this thing nice and quick. Get ready for the next one.
Mo Kurihara, Charisma Burton, and Tallulah Sivanasiva are the hitters due up this inning. Bottom part of the lineup, Millie Fidge back in the game. She's pitched 1 inning so far. It was a 1-2-3 inning. Yo Grauer started the game, allowed 2 hits and no runs over her 3 innings of work. Queensland in a dogfight with Victoria and in a dogfight with ACT. 2 of those teams will go through to the finals and likely play in that 3-4 game. That's what the battle is for today. Queensland will play each of those 2 teams after this one in their triple header day.
Yeah, so New South Wales have got Victoria next, straight after this, and SA play the ACT, which was a good game yesterday. Advantage for New South Wales is 10 o'clock, 12:30. Once they've done that, they're done for the day. So that ability to
Rest up.
the work that they did Saturday and Sunday gives them the afternoon opportunity. So
yeah, they play 8 straight games in time slots. They're going bang, 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 rest.
That's right. And look, to be honest, for New South Wales, that's a huge advantage in just the way that that's played. They worked really hard those first 2 days. They get through today. They've got the afternoon and tonight to rest up and be ready for tomorrow.
Kurihara, good shot towards left field, and Mo Kurihara rattles one against the wall. It's extra bases. She stands on with a leadoff double. And the Heat, who have allowed 5 runs but have been avoiding trouble most of the day, now have a leadoff runner in scoring position, and let's see what damage they can do.
Yeah, great piece of the ball. She had a great shot on Saturday where she hit the ball hard down the centre, down the right field line. Today she's gone opposite field and gone over Chillingworth at left field for a great double.
3rd safe hit for the Queensland team.
Charisma Burton up to bat. Gives the slap hit up the middle. It's another base hit. Runner will be held up at 3, but back-to-back base hits. The reigning Rookie of the Year from the last tournament, Charisma Burton, from 2.5 years ago, has a base hit.
Yeah, that was well executed, but Coach Jenkins made a very smart move there to hold the runner up at 3 with Maddie Cameron ball in hand. She would throw a rocket to the plate. So this is good for the Stars. They need a little bit of, they need to be challenged in this environment and making sure that their defense is ready to back up their super offense at the moment.
Tallulah Sivanasiva steps in. 0 for 1, grounded out to the third basewoman, Lana Kaesler, in her first at-bat. Neve Adams now patrolling third. But a big opportunity for Queensland to get themselves right back in this ball game. A base hit would certainly do that.
I still wouldn't be throwing the ball up to this batter. I can tell you it's going to be belted one of these times.
She needs to just not try and win it off her own bat. She just needs to find space.
They can get a couple hits here and turn it over to the top of the lineup with.
Every time she swings, it's an amazing swing.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's going to go 250 feet. She just needs.
And that's where you could get caught up as a young player.
Yeah.
You've got the power, and every pitch you just can't belt.
Yeah. A centre right line drive at the moment could do some serious damage.
Swing and a miss. Big strikeout from Millie Fidge. First out for SA.
Important strikeout.
Brings up Jessica Road. Up the middle. Robinson to second for one. Do they turn two? They don't. A run will score. So it's an RBI for Jess Road, who already had a base hit in this game. She'll stand aboard with a fielder's choice, but the lead runner retired and one-run score. So Queensland on the board.
Number 34 coming in the first wave.
Back to the top of the lineup with Dorinda Stone.
Grounded out twice to the shortstop, Chelsea Robinson.
First time facing Fidge.
Swing and a miss. Runner trying to go. That one goes into the outfield. Mo Kurihara, who's getting a pinch run for the catcher, Jessica Road, who just had that RBI.
Coach Jenkins not messing around. First pitch gone with the runner, so at 2 out.
Still some time for Queensland to storm back here. Laura Coulter's come in and done a very nice job for Queensland. On the deck, Zolly Adams scoops, clutches, fires it on a bullet across. So SA allow back-to-back hits to start the inning, but only allow the one run. It's an important run for Queensland just to get something building.
Yeah, Zali would appreciate the shout out, but that was Neve.
Oh, Neve Adams, sorry. Always mixing up my Adams. Neve Adams.
She's got a baseball pitcher's arm and she throws a rocket there, but good change up from Millie. Just to get Dorinda to ground out for the third time today on that left side of the diamond. So game's over on diamond 2. The Fire Stars have accounted for the ACT Diamonds 7-0.
So that puts the runs against for ACT at what? 36 on the live ladder, and Queensland sitting at 31. Both teams with one win. So yeah, that'll put ACT at 36 runs allowed. Queensland at 26 heading into the game. So they're at 31 right now. Queensland have actually scored more runs than they've allowed in this tournament entering this game. So a positive run differential.
So Calder needs to keep it going here. She's done a good job so far coming in.
Millie Fidge will lead things off. Gemma Letton and Amber Hood await in the on-deck circle. South Australia have had at least 2 base runners in every inning so far this game. Scored in 2 of the 3. Haven't been able to cash in on the others. Two to 1 was the score of the game the first time these teams met. Queensland had a chance to win that one late. Jade Peterson was excellent in the circle for SA. That was the first game of the tournament for Queensland. Entering the game, like I said, they have a positive run differential. Fidge, cracking shot. That was always going to be difficult. Over at third base for Mo Kurihara.
That first game between SA and Queensland on Saturday, that was the battle of the 80s, wasn't it?
It was. Two 41-year-olds going head-to-head.
SA get their lead off on. Always important. But you can see Coach Collette asking Coach Benedictson for the Stars, do we want to get our pitcher off the diamond in a running situation with none out? And he's had a look at the bench and no. She's a young athlete, she can run.
Coach Collette still over at first base. Nice and close. Do they lay down the bunt here?
Haven't looked like doing it yet.
Now they do, and
Yeah,
it's
they
right
do.
down in the dirt. Gemma Letton racing down the line. She makes it tough, doesn't she? Advances the runner.
Mark Cramp would have loved that. That was a great bunt. Again, anytime you can force 2, 3, 4 players to try and come in and field the same ball, always advantageous. But Letton's speed was the danger here. The catcher for a second had a brief look at trying to throw the lead runner out, but Fidge too fast.
Got a good arm, hasn't she,
Yeah.
Jess Road?
Amber Hood, 1 for 2 on the day. Ball in the dirt, good block from Jess Road. Yeah, she's been impressive.
Yeah, this is Queensland's tournament so far. There's patches of excellent softball and great potential, and then the other moments where they're just obviously struggling to keep the pressure on, which is, again, we've said it 1,000 times. I mean, they're that one side that has those lots of senior players and lots of young players. So future bright for Queensland for sure.
Outside. Chelsea Robinson seen the ball well today. She waits in the on-deck circle. Road frames that well. It was a good pitch as well from Laura Coulter. And it's a walk for Amber Hood. The ball passed away, so a runner will go to third. So it's runners on the corners for South Australia. Chelsea Robinson coming back up. A double in the second inning. Showing bunt, runner gonna try to slide into second. It's a good throw and it's on the money.
It's a great throw,
What
wasn't
a
it?
throw from Jess Road to get the runner going. The runner stays at third as well. That worked out perfectly for Queensland.
Yeah, that was super impressive. I mean, whether or not the catcher was, game aware enough to know that the pitcher was standing at third and wasn't going to give her too much threat, she didn't really bother checking her too much and just focused on throwing the lead run out. So that's good gameplay by the catcher for Queensland for sure. Amber Hood's super fast. Normally doesn't get thrown out.
It was a great throw from Jess Road.
Yeah, well played, Queensland.
Again, she's only been learning the catching position in the last 18 months.
Yeah, I know, crazy, isn't it?
I can see why what they saw in her and said, yeah, you got to make the switch. Again, Queensland have absorbed so much pressure in this game. the score honestly could be a little bit more lopsided than 5-1 with how many base runners SA have had. They've had 2 runners on in every single inning, and they've only scored 5 runs.
Yeah, Calder's done a great job, though, of just breaking those hits up and slowing the game down. So
Swing and a miss, and that's a big strikeout, and that will end the side. Laura Coulter, what a job she's doing.
yeah, New South Wales would love this too, watching SA have to sit out here in the sun a bit longer, working harder for this. They're already finished over on Diamond 2. So, but yeah, Coulter, especially after the shot she took yesterday, super impressive.
Queensland again, I mean, you look at the box score. SA obviously had the 3 runs in the first, but in the second, don't forget they had Amber Hood and Chelsea Robinson on second and third with 1 out, and they didn't score the runs. They scored 2 more in the third, but then after they scored their runs, they ended up with runners on second and third and 1 out, and then they couldn't score the runs. And then in the 4th inning, they had runners on first and second, 2 out, couldn't cash in the runs. And here, runners on first and third, 1 out, couldn't cash in runs. So Queensland playing some very good defense and getting some good pitches to keep this score at bay, knowing how premium those runs are in a runs against tiebreak scenario. We might be looking back at this game later in the day and saying, thank goodness Queensland didn't allow with some runs in those situations.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about it 20, 30 minutes ago that with Solomon on whether or not there was the coach at this particular point said, listen, she's just going to have to ride this thing out, and we're just going to have to save Calder and hold her for the later games, along with Zunka. But to Queensland's credit, they've made the change. They've said nope. They've put a flag down, and they've said no, we're going to keep pushing here, and they're getting the results, as you say.
Harari Kurihara trying to wave down the line and get a signal from the coach.
Yeah. Can I hit?
Originally from Japan.
In the scope of the game, top 6, this is the number 2 hitter in the lineup, Whitefield to follow. So this is Queensland's chance right here. This is the top of their line. If they're going to make any indent on that score, they've got to do it this innings.
We've seen some good comebacks in this tournament so far. So 4 certainly not out of touch. Kurihara into play. It could be a tricky one. Takes a weird spin, and that's what cost Sarah Tonkin a play. Kurihara gets enough spin on it, and she's standing on first as the leadoff runner. Take a look at this Easton replay.
I think you could just see the spin coming off that ball. I thought at one stage Tonkin was just going to step to the side of it and let it go, but it was sort of, it's always dangerous like that, if you let it go and it's an extra base.
Split second, you've got to make up your mind, don't you, on that?
But that was difficult. Tonkin did good to keep it around her.
Whitefield goes chasing right on the first pitch.
Yeah, you can see there's definitely a switch in Queensland here in their aggression. Big lead off at first. Whitefield aggressive at the start of the count. First time seeing Fidge.
Yeah, they're feeling a lot better about themselves, Queensland, right now. You can tell.
Again, Tonkin with that, knowing her club pitcher, Millie, again, does a great job in just getting the best out of her, changing the pace. Big cut in that first at bat. Second time round here, that second pitch took all off of the. Challenges are up.
Disciplined batter, isn't she, Tamika? Not chasing anything she doesn't have to.
A leader at 22 in nationals.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But she's been super impressive.
Puts it on the deck. Robinson gets the lead runner.
Yeah, that's a great field by Chelsea. Stayed low, eye behind the ball. Queensland have made a change here, I think, as Rihanna Kemp has come in for
Aaron West,
the captain.
Whitefield has some speed you got to respect over at first.
Absolutely. Ideally, though, I want to see get Kempka on. You've got the dangerous Blackman on deck.
As Fidge falls behind, Tonkin just wants a quick chat.
That's the great benefit of Millie in what we've seen in the club ball and so far in the state stuff here. And you can obviously say that that's part of Darren's legacy, I think, with her, is that she just doesn't seem phased no matter the pressure, which for an 18-year-old in her first open state nationals is just amazing. Like, just great control, great composure, just letting everything worry about the execution of the pitch.
Kemp to the outfield. That's going to drop it in front of Cameron, and now some pressure on the base pass for Queensland.
We were just talking about, you know, that's what Queensland wanted. Two dangerous contact hitters to come.
They've absorbed pressure. Can they apply their own now? Janice Blackman, probably their best shot at doing it. Strong left-handed bat.
Big cut.
No half measures with her,
No.
Janice. She's going full lick.
Looked like she was trying to hit that ball back to Queensland.
Yeah. Or bring down the nearest plane landing at the airport.
Tonkin looking for that ball, and both runners are going to advance in scoring position.
Yeah, good base running by Whitefield. Picked up on that real early. Even if Tonkin had recovered it, I think she was already well committed and would have been safe regardless.
Heads up player, isn't she, Tamika?
Yep.
So two runners in scoring position. A base hit makes this a ball game. And it's hit in the air over towards center field. Cameron has to move back. She makes the play. She's going to try to throw over towards third. Blackman drives in a run, and it's a 3-run game.
Yeah, great field by Maddie Cameron. She's gone back deep, covering that ball. She's turned herself inside, opening up third base, knowing that that was where the player was. There was no way she was going to get Whitefield at home. So good outfielding. Good shot by Blackman, though. Scored the run. And now
Mo Kurihara.
Kurihara last time went hard down the third base line. Can she do that again?
That got Queensland aboard with nobody out in the 5th inning. She was later knocked in on a fielder's choice that Jessica Rode put into play. Queensland have clawed their way back here. Chopped to second. Hood makes the play, but another run from Queensland, so they're putting on a bit of a charge as we go to the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, great momentum switch here. That pitching change from Calder has definitely leveled Queensland's defense out. So the important thing is to hold it and give themselves one more shot in the 7th.
3 outs to work with for Queensland. Coulter comes back in. It's 2-3-4 in the lineup. There has been a change already, so it'll be Tonkin, Neve Adams, and then Maddie Cameron. It's the first of 3 games that both these teams will play. Win for SA all but secures a spot in the 1-2 game. They would need to, the equation there is they need Victoria to win all 3 of their games today, and SA would need to have a differential of, well, it's
20.
at 11 now, 28.
I'm impressed that you can calculate all of that Monday
So
morning.
yeah, SA
Okay.
would need to lose their last, they would need to lose this game and then their last 2 games by a combined margin of, difference of 28, whatever that looks like, which is almost mathematically impossible considering there's mercy rules in there.
Yeah.
You know, if it becomes 10 after whatever. So
Yep.
SA would have a 99.9% chance at playing in the 1-2 game with a win today.
Yeah.
Sarah Tonkin leads things off.
Yeah, those next games coming up after this are hugely important. One of those other three teams is going to have to rattle somebody to break this thing open. So I think those Victorian games coming up are going to be hugely important.
The finals effectively start right after this opening time slot.
True.
Tonkin into left field. Burton makes the play, one down. Now we get a look at Neve Adams in the batter's box.
Yeah, went deep to center last time.
Came in for Lana Kaesler in the 4th inning.
Tough act to follow.
Ball down low. Yeah, you're right. The pacing has just thrown off SA's aggression that they had earlier, hasn't it?
Yeah, like SA seem like they're in a rush to get to an appointment, so.
Ball fouled away. It's getting hot on the diamond too. We're in the shade, but
Yeah, it's bright, overcast, it's warm, not much breeze. That breeze will come late in the afternoon off the beach, so reasonable crowd in for a Monday morning. How about our social friends? Are we not the feedback that we were getting last time?
I mean, the feedback was good last night.
Yeah.
A lot of people were backing everybody up on the calls. It was good, but yeah, I'm not. Checking. You want to check the?
Sure.
What's going on? Give us a shout out. You have about check in 3 minutes. We'll give people right now a quick chance to type in what club they're part of, where they're watching from. I want to know if anybody's watching from work. Like, is anybody not supposed to? Is anyone supposed to be working and joining us for a softball game right now? I'm supposed to be working right now, and I'm calling the softball game.
Well, there's plenty of people watching.
What's up, everybody? So happy that you could join us. I love watching softball with all of you. Hope you're enjoying the call.
Jessica Maslin wants to shout out. Yeah, she's working, but she's watching. Hey, Jess.
Jess taking a few days off later this week. Jess, what are you doing? You gotta be getting ready.
Yeah.
Big weekend coming up. Jess Maslin, part of that Stars sisterhood. Adams, again, showing a bit of flair. It goes high up in the air, 2 down. This is the most straightforward inning so far for Queensland. They're looking more settled as the game's going on.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of people there. Joe's at Geelong. Duncan's at work. Fidji reckons he's trimming the hedges, but I would doubt that. I would suggest that Darren would have somebody in doing that for him.
Watching from Townsville. Geraldton, let's go. Hey, it's a public holiday in Queensland.
Is that really?
Let's go. Hey,
Yeah,
what's
now
up, everybody in Queensland tuning in?
Carly Allen, hopefully making some tasty treats.
From Mildura. I want to know what jobs people have at work.
Croft's working. I hope you're not driving, Croft.
Lana and Jess teaching together over at that school, and Lana has a couple days off to start the week. Jess has a few days off to end the week. Passing ships. Labor Day in Queensland. Thanks for everybody filling us in. The Red Sox watching in Cairns. Those Cairns folks, are they a fan of the Kurihara sisters?
And we got some overseas too. Sue's over there in Los Angeles.
And Maddie Cameron in the batter's box trying to send one to LA.
Well, thanks to everybody for making the effort to tune in.
Well, a 1-2-3 inning, and I'll tell you what, Queensland, they were just getting punched around in the early stages of this game. SA coming at them full throttle with the bats. They were at 5-0. They were pressuring for more. They could have had a few more. Queensland, great defense, excellent pitching performance from Laura Coulter. They've grinded back a couple runs. Now they got 3 outs to try to do it. The damage stops at 5 in the runs against.
Yeah.
So they've net gained on ACT from the start of the day. So it's a successful game in that regard for Queensland. Their 2 big ones are coming later today.
Yeah.
But this is, even if they don't score 3 runs here, you'd feel like Queensland's going to be feeling pretty good after this game, saying, yeah, we got positive stuff to build on.
Absolutely. I mean, Holden hasn't taken her jacket off yet. Zonka hasn't taken her jacket off yet. So you've got your 2 pitchers, or your 2 of your main pitchers, who are both ready, fresh for those big games later today. Coulter's done an outstanding job here. So Fidge just wants to get in now, close this thing up. As I said, we think that she's got some bigger games coming later today. So it'll be interesting to see how they approach this now.
As Burton leads things off, I'll ask one more question to our audience. Who's the best Australian softballer you have ever seen from your state? That's what I want to know, from your state. Type that in the comments. We'll read out some shout-outs after this as Burton drops this in. It's a base hit, and what a spin it took, too. Burton pushing for a second, slides in there, safe. And it's a leadoff double for Charisma Burton. Queensland Heat bringing the pressure.
Got a safe hit with a previous turn at bat, Charisma.
Previous rookie too, so at the last Nationals. So in 2020, she was Charisma Burton. Mother now on second base, none out.
Tallulah Sivanasiva goes after the first pitch. Sarah Tonkin fighting the sun, makes the play, so it's a quick out.
Yeah, good pitch by Millie there. Did a good job, well done by Sarah. But just that tall, big, powerful swing, she's just jammed her.
Well, this is my player of the game for Queensland, Jess Rhodes. She's got 2 17-year-olds pitching today. She's got an RBI, she's got a hit, and she's thrown 2 runners out. Only 18 months into playing catcher, and she's gonna get another base hit.
Here we go, might have a pull-up. Yeah, Coach Jenkins wants to pull the trigger on that runner at 3, but soon as Maddie Cameron's anywhere in the vicinity, you just, no, put that away. Maddie was all over it.
Jess Rhodes, what a game she has had today. Without her, Queensland probably mercied early in the game.
Could be, for sure, absolutely. So the impressive thing is the holding of SA's offensive momentum. That's been the big change. But Queensland have threatened every innings late. As this game's gone on, as the Queensland coaching staff said this week, they will just continue to get better, and they are in this game.
Dorinda Stone back to the top of the lineup, second time facing Millie Fidge, 4th at-bat of the game. She's 0 for 3, but she is the tying run for Queensland.
Yeah, so tough ask for Millie here. I mean, 18-year-old first Nationals. She's about to come back through the top of Queensland's order for the 2nd time while she's in the circle, and she's got runners on in the 7th.
Swing and a miss.
What a pitch.
Queensland battling back hard in this game. If you told me in the 3rd inning that Queensland would be in the 7th with the tying run at the plate, I'd say there was some work to do, and there was, but they've done that work. They've done the hard yards. Great defense. Timely offense has put them in a position for a chance. 2-1 count. What pressure can they apply on this SA defense? Ball up high, and this becomes a big pitch right here for Millie Fidge.
But terrific patience there, isn't it, from Dorinda?
Yeah.
Not chasing anything.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the Stars want you to do, chase bad pitches now.
Yeah, but
you're not going to, not with Dorinda Stone batting.
Well, it was a great pitch to throw because she asked the question of the batter. I mean, Sivanasiva, she did the same thing last time on the same thing, and she got her swinging out, striking out. So
it's cat and mouse stuff, isn't it?
It's great.
The pitcher and catcher versus this batter, and this batter is very important to Queensland and to South Australia.
Full count here.
Stone fouls it away.
Thing you can't do here is go down looking, can you?
No.
Haven't seen a lot of that, though,
No,
to be
we
honest.
haven't. We haven't, in all fairness, and that's because of the experience of the players.
Yeah.
And, you know, at this level, but it can happen, can't it? You just...
I think the umpiring's been really good too. Like the zones that the hitters are working from, they've been pretty comfortable with.
Haven't noticed the umpires.
Yeah,
that tells its own story.
Yeah.
Former Aussie squad member Dorinda Stone, full count tying run, bottom of the last. Into play. Is it that awkward soft spot? Diving in, Maddie Cameron! Unbelievable play! Maddie Cameron lays out and makes a great play to rob Dorinda Stone of a base hit. The run will score. Cameron coming up a bit ginger, but look at this diving catch. Oh my God.
Oh, that is, yeah.
Oh. Maddie Cameron, if that's a base hit, Queensland would have the winning run or the tying run on base.
Yeah, Maddie Cameron, just amazing. Always, you know, watching her running on that, I sort of felt she's going to catch that. I mean, it's going to be super hard, but she's going to catch it.
It's a 5-3 game. The runner tagged up and scored. All 3 Queensland runs scored because of a sacrifice. But had that dropped in, it's 2 runners on, and the winning run, or the go-ahead run at least, is at the plate in the form of Harari Kurihara. Instead, it's the final out that SA need. Still the tying run. But important because all of a sudden Tamika Whitefield likely would have had a good chance. That was a huge defensive play from Maddie Cameron.
Yeah, puts Millie Fidge in that situation now, 2 out. She can just focus on the hitter.
Runner going.
Oh, that's brave.
So a runner in scoring position. That's not the important one, though, for SA. The important one is Harari Kurihara. Everybody in Cairns right now, I'm sure, are watching, or Cairns, as you might say it. Should say it in the Aussie accent, right?
No comment.
I thought you had an Aussie accent.
Cairns. Aussie Eric, let's go. Harari trying to step in, keep Queensland alive. What a great effort they've had trying to come back in this game. Swing and a miss, and Millie Fidge gets the final out. Queensland make it tricky, but SA get the win, and they're all but guaranteed a top 2 spot. Queensland still remain in a finals position.
That's a great pitch by Millie Fidge. You know, in the situation, the pressure, all of those things. But yeah, great job SA, but great job Queensland. What a way to come back and just put the pressure on. As I said, New South Wales would be sitting in the stands. They'd love that. They've kept SA out in the sun for another half hour on a triple header. So yeah, that's a good start to the day.
Wouldn't want to play Queensland in a final.
No, I don't think so.
So that would make interest. I think it was a great team effort from SA. Literally 9 different, every player in the lineup had a hit during the game. So choosing of a player of the game becomes very difficult, but Yo Grauer started the game and she had 2 doubles. She might be the player of the game for my pick, just for the way they started with those 2 doubles and the pitch. And on the Queensland side, I'm going to have to give it to Jessica Road. I thought she was their best player.
Yeah, for sure. She was definitely the work that she did behind the plate. Whitefield was also, you know, a couple of shots, got a shot, and was also great leadership in the field. Coulter did an amazing job when she came in and stopped that run fest that was happening. So, yeah, triple header. So, lots to do today. So.
Darren Scissorhands saying that things got a bit stressful for him on the stream. So
yeah,
hopefully he didn't cut anything too dangerously there. No, thanks very much for joining us, everybody, on this broadcast. We got a game in half an hour coming up. SA and Queensland. James Harris will sub in for the call on that. Lee Ho, final thoughts?
Yes, it was. They showed great ticker, didn't they, Queensland? Coming back, just persisting. 3 innings, 1 run each innings. They make it up to 2. It gets closer and tighter, and you never know what can happen. But full credit to South Australia. I mean, they put the score on the board early, and that's what counted, didn't it?
The dogfight for the last 2 final spot will continue in about a half hour. We got a quadruple header of broadcast for you live from Diamond 1. We'll take a quick break and be right back. See you then.